Hey guys, so just wanted to make a really quick video because somebody commented on our New Zealand Campervan video, and I thought, hey, wow, people are actually watching these and that's cool, and we're getting feedback, which is awesome. And this one I think is going to be really helpful if you are traveling in New Zealand in a camper van. So we did get some really good advice from the people we bought our van from, and that saved us a lot of trouble, and it was great to learn it early in. Unfortunately, there were some other lessons that we learned a little bit farther along, and it would have been nice to know them earlier, so we just want to help you out so that you can get moving and save some time and save some money, especially if you're on a budget. Before we arrived in New Zealand, we did do a little bit of research on tips for traveling around in a camper van. Most of those tips were related to the decision on whether you should rent or buy a camper van. That's helpful. But this video is more for you if you already have a camper van, or you know you're going to have a camper van and you're going to New Zealand. These are very practical, concrete tools that you can use to save time and money when you're there. So the first tip that we have for you is to download the Campermate app, and that is available on both iPhone and Android, and it's free, which is great. This app has all of the campsites, all of the toilets, public showers, which is really awesome if you are living in a van, especially if it's not self-contained. It's also got attractions, and the nice thing about the app is that it maps them all out, and you can read reviews from other travelers on whether it was worth it or whether it was dirty, or for campsites, you might want to know if it fills up by a certain time generally. So sometimes people will say, oh, it's usually full by 6 p.m. If you're past that, don't bother. So Campermate is really good, and another one that's really good that you should have traveling anywhere is Maps.me, and this app is by far the best we've found for offline navigation. If you don't have internet, and you may not on your phone in New Zealand, it's so great because you can program the destination in and it keeps up with you, but it doesn't need internet like Google Maps does. All right, our second tip for you is to go to two of the main grocery stores in New Zealand are called Countdown and New World. These are the ones that you're probably going to find in every major city center. They're the biggest ones, and both of them have a loyalty card that you can pick up even if you're a traveler. The Countdown card, you pick it up at the cash. It's totally free, and the nice thing about this card is that it saves you a ton of money on fuel, which is so important when you're in a camper van because you are going to use so much gas, or petrol as they call it in New Zealand. Don't say gas because they'll be confused. You're going to go through so much gas, and it costs like twice as much as it costs in North America, so savings are really important. With the card, you will save 3 cents a liter for if you spend $100 a week, and if you spend $200 a week, you'll save 6 cents a liter, and that just gets saved up on your card, and you can use the credit whenever you want. You should also pay attention because sometimes they offer a 10 cents off a liter day, and that's a great day to fill up your van as much as you can. Now, you can only use it if you're filling up a minimum of 50 liters, I think, so try to fill up, or try to save up. Try not to fill up your van unless you can put 50 liters in so that you can maximize your savings. The card at Countdown is also good because it will give you access to the sale prices of all the food at Countdown, and the same goes for New World. They have a very similar program. You get access to the sale prices on their food, which is great, and they also give you, every time you buy something at New World, they give you a little coupon for 6 cents off at Mobile. So similar program, just depends where you want to shop. It's probably better if you shop at one or the other. We tend to like Countdown better, but it's up to you. So it's important to mention that with the Countdown card, you have to pre-register it online in order to tell the card that you want smart fuel savings and not savings in the store. So make sure you do that as soon as you can. And the other thing is, for the Countdown card, the gas stations you can use it at are BP and Caltex. So you have to look for the little AA symbol, and if it has that, you can use your card and save some money. Third tip. All right, so cell phones in New Zealand. You're probably going to want to have a cell phone, if not to actually use the telephone and send texts, at least use the internet. Because you're living in a van, you don't have an internet connection generally like you do at hostels or hotels. And so your cell phone is going to be your portal to the internet. And generally, mobile plans in New Zealand suck, like big time suck. So you're looking at, for a travel plan for tourists. You can get a 30-day plan, or sorry, I think it's a 60-day plan, minimum $30 a month. That gets you 1 gigabyte of data, which you will burn through very quickly. For $50 for 2 months, you can get 3 gigabytes of data. And I think for $100, you get maybe 8 gigabytes. Anyway, for a traveler who's using only their phone for the internet, that is not a lot. So our tip is to go with Spark Mobile. And we had researched a little bit previous on the main providers, and they generally have about the same coverage. So there's 2 Degrees, Vodafone, and Spark. We just chose Spark arbitrarily, but we're so glad that we did, because they have an awesome perk, and that is that they have these little telephone boxes around the cities that have up to 1 gigabyte of free Wi-Fi if you're a customer with them. So the Spark boxes are everywhere. Little towns, big towns, we found them almost everywhere we went. 1 gigabyte is enough to like download a Netflix show, and then you have Netflix in your van later on that night. So that's really good. Highly recommend Spark Mobile. For fourth tip is that you may not be familiar with the stores that they have in New Zealand. We certainly weren't. We had to figure out where people go to buy things. And the place that you're gonna wanna go to is called The Warehouse. And it doesn't look like much on the outside, but basically it's a department store, and it has everything that you could ever need for your van. It's got tons of camping gear, it's got clothing, it's got kitchenware, it's your one-stop shop basically, although they don't have groceries. So the Warehouse is really great. It's also the best place that we found to buy the propane cylinders that are like this for your propane stove. You'll go through probably quite a few of those, and you can get a pack of 3 or 4 for something like $10, which is really, really reasonable. And a lot of the stuff they have is like really cute and totally reasonable prices. We also picked up a camp shower there, fairy lights, and it's a bit like Walmart if you're a North American. It's basically the exact same thing. Okay, fifth and final tip, and you can take this one or leave it based on your dietary habits. But for us, you know, we didn't necessarily want to be cooking every day, whether it was raining or we were just feeling lazy. And it's really important to stay on your budget. And if you're driving around in a van, there's a good chance that you're on a budget. So one place that we found that had a great deal was Domino's Pizza. And I feel like this was just the dinner of every van lifer in New Zealand, because they have an awesome $5 value meal, and you can get a huge selection of decent sized pizzas, definitely enough for one person, for just $5. And in New Zealand, that's a really good price. So yeah, we probably ate more Domino's pizzas than we should have, but it was delicious and we don't regret it. So if you're looking for a cheap dinner, head to Domino's. You can go buy your beer at the grocery store and then go find a nice picnic table on the lake and you're set. All right, well, I hope that this video was helpful for you. If there's any other tips, feel free to leave them in the comments for other travelers, and I hope you have an awesome time in New Zealand.